Welcome back to the Morning Show here on Arise News. Time now for the week that was. Let's take a look at the top stories that made headlines across the globe this week. Unless the political class plays by the rules, making Nigeria a viable country will remain a mirage. This was the predominant submission of the panelists at the challenges faced in Nigeria at a roundtable to mark the 70th birthday of Catholic Bishop of Sokoto, Matthew Hassan Kukah.
It is the 70th birthday of the man of the cloth, Bishop Matthew Kukah. Members of the political class are falling over themselves to pay tribute to this man of God who never get tired of seeking a better deal for the masses. The theme for discussion is Nigerians' unfinished greatness. Here, politicians, intellectuals, clerics, journalists, and others from all walks of life are here to brainstorm on how to make Nigeria a better country. Former President Goodluck Jonathan set the tone for the discourse when he said challenges being faced by the country is expected because Nigeria is a dysfunctional society.
Some of the people who spoke talks about how Father Kukah bruised them. Father Kukah must bruise all of us. Because when you are living in a dysfunctional society, and you are a clergyman, you can't keep quiet. In fact, Father Kukah asked whether he bruised me too. But the society we are managing is quite complex.
Panelists spoke on critical issues affecting the nation, ranging from corruption, indiscipline, lawlessness, and quality leadership. They stressed the need for the three arms of government to be independent of one another.
Let us democratize our security architecture. Let's make our security architecture responsible to the citizen in a manner where if there is no effectiveness, then those that are holding position within that architecture would be held accountable. We're not doing that at the moment, and that is why, unfortunately, we continue to see a deterioration within the security space.
We often forget that we've managed our diversity and difference, as bad as things are, than countries in many other parts of the world. We got the word Balkanized from a particular region of this world, the Balkans, where countries that were all together are splitting. We've held together. That is some progress. We now need to build on that greatness and strengthen it, because no nation in the world comes automatically wholesale as one people.
6 months after, 2.1 million students are at home, restless, able-bodied young people, and we want to solve the issue of insecurity. 234 soldiers have written because they want to leave their jobs. It's not because they don't love the country anymore. It's because they feel that the country does not love them.
There are many types of states across the world. Every state determines what it produces in terms of values. Why would, for example, in many states, people who are accused of certificate racketing will not aspire for public office? Because the state cannot accommodate those contradictions. But in states like our own, which is a state built around privilege for rich, for powerful people, there is no contradiction that it cannot stomach. So I think the Nigerian politicians should just tell ourselves the truth, that we need to, this is not about ethnicity, we need to reconceive the Nigerian state before it can become an efficient, productive state.
Speakers here believe Nigeria will be on its way to greatness if the political class are selfless and patriotic in nation building.
A guest on the morning show, and he offered his thoughts on the state of the nation.
Nigeria, we are playing politics without political science. I set the tone for that conversation because politics is a science. All this hit and miss, stumble, fall, and get up that we are running. What we are running in Nigeria is a glorified, vanished form of feudalism that has not been able to move from mere prebendalism to the strictness of political science. Now, we set the tone for this conversation, and the quality of the debate was such that I felt vindicated, because this is exactly why I decided to set up the Kuka Center. Because I believe, look, Ruben, anybody and everybody who listens to you people in the morning, and you listen to other anchors, you know that we have extraordinarily brilliant people who understand what the issues are. I had a conversation with President Jonathan before the event. One of the things, in the course of our discussion, one of the things I raised with him was that the whole process of team selection in Nigeria was so severely flawed, because it cannot pass the test of what you might call political science in terms of governance. We, for example, have turned this whole thing into a process and a platform for distribution privilege, because every minister who serves the Federal Republic of Nigeria serves on the basis of being sponsored by a friend, by a traditional ruler, by somebody who has the closeness to power. And the difficulty that ministers experience is even the sheer process of getting in. A lot of people who found themselves being surprised by a telephone call and being called to serve. And primarily, Nigerians will tell you, if you ask, that every state should have a minister. Now, the problem is that the layers of loyalty are such that people's loyalty is first to their community, then to their state, and if there is any sense of loyalty left, it is transferred to the Nigerian state. And this is why, in the end of your serving Nigeria, people measure their proficiency and competence by how many people in their village they manage to smuggle into Abuja by way of government, position. So if you ask, I wanted to set the tone for the fact that we must move away from where we are. We cannot continue doing the same thing and expect a different result. So for the future, there is greatness in Nigeria, and we have a generation that is definitely poised, far better than the generation before, to appreciate the complexities of what nation building is all about.
Thank you, Bishop. Now, you've said that we need to really focus on moving away from where we are and reworking Nigeria. This may seem like an obvious question, but what sorts of qualities do we need to see in a leader, in the next president of Nigeria? Or what sorts of qualities would you like to see in whoever takes office in 2023?
Look, I think the concept of leadership is increasingly being redefined as a result of globalization. The world is no longer focusing on who your father or who your mother is or what your town is. The world is now focusing on what is in your brain. It's on brain power, your ability, your capacity to govern the world by sheer brain, not brown. So the point is that we Nigerians, and this is also the reality of politics in Africa, we're still tradition, even some of the most base parts of tradition are in conflict with the principles of democracy. So the point is that even the whole idea about leadership is often exaggerated, because we are confusing office holders with leaders. There are many people across the world now who are drawing their inspiration. They're not talking about the average American is not thinking about whether Joe Biden is working or not working, or they're not thinking about Boris Johnson. They're not thinking. It's only in Africa that there's so much emphasis and focus on the center. And the president as a presider of a distribution agency distributing privilege and favor. The real society is going to grow when we expand the frontiers of knowledge and the frontiers of opportunity. And that race is endless. So there are millions of ordinary young Nigerians who are not even interested in doing a government job. I've met many young men who said many young men and women from day one, they're not interested in looking for a government job. In any case, government jobs are becoming a liability. They are shrinking. Government will no longer have the capacity. They can't even pay salaries. So critical to all of this is we're looking for a president that has enough understanding of the complexities of what is wrong with Nigeria. It's not just about good men just trying to aspire to help us to greatness, when they themselves have shown no evidence that, one, they don't understand the contours of power. They cannot connect the points. So my argument is that anybody who aspires to rule Nigeria, we have the opportunity, but we must redesign a template of, let me use the word, confrontation. And you must be ready to confront Nigerians and answer their questions. Traditionally, we've just had a good number of people moving up and down. And
All right, Aaron, some very pertinent points being raised by Bishop Kukah there. He did say something that stuck. He says, we are confusing office holders with leaders.
Yeah.
How impactful is that statement?
The man has always hit the nail on the head, and that's why he's come under heavy scrutiny by the government, criticism by political office holders, because he knows what governors should be. I think that statement that he made about the fact that we are practicing politics without science, or political science, drives home that particular point. Because the truth is, there is science to everything that happens in life. And if we want to get governance right, and the kind of governance that speaks to people and reaches out to people, then there is a science to it. But if the essence of government, or if the essence of governance, as the case may be, is all centered around trying to empower yourself and empower your family, you've actually lost the ethos of being given power. And that's what we've seen play out over the years. And it's unfortunate we find ourselves at this particular point bereft of true leadership when it comes to governance at the highest level down to the lowest level. And look at where we are now. And it's good that conversations like this are being brought up, because sensitization needs to be done time and time again to ensure that we get to that point when we're standing between ourselves, the ballot paper, and looking at our future, and we say to ourselves that, based on what I know, this is the right thing to do. Because if you do that, we will see something happen, a paradigm shift that will set Nigeria right. We need that to happen. We were hoping coming into 2015 that sensitization had grown, and we thought we're choosing a leadership that will help us not fix our problems, but change the course of the nation. Actually move the nation from the left to the right, little by little, because change cannot happen overnight. Change takes time. But it's unfortunate, more than 90% of the people that believed in this government to bring about this kind of change, the change they promised, are utterly disappointed. And right now, Bishop Kukah, using his 70th birthday, is re-echoing some of these things again. That we need to look into that particular periscope and look deeply, based on indices. The fact that politicians use religion, they will never admit it, but they use religion, weaponize it, and use it to divide people. Ultimately, it's really sad.
A myriad of issues, of course, but a strong point you make is about the ethos of what true governance and leadership is, as opposed to just an office holder, or this is a fancy title.
True.
Well, we're just going to have to wait around and see. Now, let's move on.
Now, the Rivers State Governor, Nyesom Wike, has accused the national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Senator Yocha Ayu, of arrogance, insincerity, lack of integrity, and dishonesty, and warned that such are the failings that could jeopardize the electoral fortunes of the party in the 2023 general election. Now, Governor Wike spoke at Thursday's inauguration of the Umerelu internal roads in the Kwere local government area of Rivers State, which was performed by former Deputy National Chairman, Southwest of the PDP, Chief Olabode George. The governor explained that he had expected the chairman of the party to unite all aggrieved members and galvanize them ahead of the electoral battle in 2023. Chief Olabode George also made comments on the PDP crisis.
You hear when a serving national chairman of our party is calling elected governors that they are children. Does he think that children don't grow? Or there is a life perpetual on him? We need to watch our language. It shows to me that it is him that is immature. To have an egalitarian society, restructuring is the answer. We want Nigeria to survive as a nation. That is why we are agitating that Nigeria must be restructured and our political and economic powers must derive legitimacy from the people.
Now, meanwhile, the chairman of PDP's Board of Trustees, Senator Wali Jibrin, says no one will be chased out of the party as they are focused on winning the 2023 general election. Speaking with the media in Kaduna, Senator Jibrin says the calls for the resignation of a national chairman of the party are not needed at the moment. He says the BOT is working with the governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, to resolve the issues and ensure that the party's presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, emerges victorious at the polls.
We are together, we are one. All this problem is coming to an end. We are going to sit together, come out with a stand. Nobody is going to be chased out of the party now because we are looking for 2023 and every Nigerian is looking at us. No need for us to come and be fighting. The issue of the national chairman, he has a tenure. And let's not wait until Atiku wins the election. Me, I have only 4 months to go. So what is the hurry? If we go talking about this man must leave now, it will not help PDP. We should sit down. When he becomes the president of Nigeria, all these things will be done by the party. We have processes, we have organs, we have the National Caucus, we have the BOT, we have the NEC, we have the National Convention. All we are going to sit down, take a final decision. I don't want people to come and be misquoting us. We are one. Even Wike, we are going to talk to him seriously. He is a party man. He said that time without number. He has done a lot. We respect him. Please let him cool down so that we'll all go together and make sure that Atiku win this position of president of Nigeria.
And arrogance, insincerity, lack of integrity, these are like very strong accusations that have come from Nyesom Wike towards the PDP national chairman, Iyorchia Ayu. But of course, a lot of people will also say that he's just hitting right back, that some of the words that the PDP chairman also used were quite inflammatory.
Looking at how things have actually played out within the PDP, it's a shame. Some would say it is internal democracy in motion. I would agree if this was happening 2 years, 3 years before the elections. We have 5 months to the elections. The elections are just about the corner. February next year. This should not be happening right now, especially to an opposition party. We've seen this play out between, this is not just synonymous to the PDP. This is between the PDP and the APC. We've seen this play out time and time again, whereby internal democracy is fragile, which should not be, because it only just shows, one, the insincerity, the self-seeking nature of politicians. They are not after trying to change the fortunes of people here in Nigeria. They are actually just self-seeking. How do I grab for myself? And you see Wike on one side, accusing Iyorchia Ayu of
a lot of...
Yes, of insincerity, because there were talks and the gentleman agreement between this gentleman over the last couple of months and years did not materialize ultimately. And Wike is feeling undone because he's feeling that over the years also, I've spent quite a fortune to ensure that at least if I don't get there, that I am close enough to the seat of power. And he's found out that he's been left empty-handed with all that he has invested into politics. But that's politics for you. You win some, you lose some. But he's not taking this defeat kindly. And now that he's on the side, he's trying as much as possible to ensure that he still maintains his relevance. I don't know if this will engulf the party. The Iyocho Ayu's camp and the BOT are speaking from one side of the mouth, almost trying to trivialize what is happening to Nyesom Wike. Nyesom Wike came out firing on all cylinders against the BOT, the chairman of the party. If you take that lightly, you do that at your own peril.
Do you think he's well within his right, or do you think he's just been cantankerous? This is Nyesom Wike.
It's both. It's both, because when you've invested so much time and energy into this, it's only right that you demand something back in return, because you can't keep giving. It has to be symbiotic.
Right, so it's
the question is
that he's feeling disgruntled.
Yes, his time in the PDP. Has it been symbiotic? What has PDP given him? He'll be asking. That's the question he's asking right now. Or what will you give me? That's the question he's asking right now.
Right, well, the biggest question will be how quickly will the PDP unite?
The time is ticking. The time is
ticking, and there is very little.
Campaign begins by the end of this month, so the time is ticking.
All right. Now, that's all on the week that was. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we shall get to meet our first guest. Stay with us. Honorable Patrick Obaibwa, a former member of the House of Representatives, will be joining us very shortly.